OneKey now has, in addition to its black version, a white version. Let's unbox it, install it, and take a look at what this little amazing device can do. Hey, and welcome to Crypto. I've already covered several products from OneKey, namely the S1, the black one, the Pro, which is very high quality and modern. And now there's the OneKey Classic. The one we have here in black is now available as the OneKey S1 Pure. And we're going to take a look at this Pure together and see all the great things inside this device. Let's see what's inside. I think it's a very stylish device. White definitely gives it a classy special touch. And yes, we can be very curious to see if maybe it looks a bit different from the black one. As you can already see, the white version looks much cleaner. So let's first take a look at exactly what's included here. What's inside? First, a quick note. With the code KE, you always save at 1K and always get the best price, at least 5%, and during certain promotions, even 10% in the 1K shop, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. This wallet really supports a lot of cryptocurrencies. Let's take a look at exactly how many before we dive into the wallet. And as you can see, there are really a lot. App hardware, all the hardware related to the app. Let's take a look here. Trading, here it's still partly available. Sell, trade. So for some, you can even sell them directly here or just trade them here. And of course also store them since it's a hardware wallet. The most important thing about a hardware wallet is, of course, storage, or rather, secure storage. And as you can see, the list, when I scroll down here, just keeps getting longer. So as soon as I reach the very bottom here, it loads briefly and then a whole lot more appears. There are so many cryptocurrencies available. The OneKey Pro, or in this case, the OneKey Classic one, offers so many possibilities and so many integrations on their wallet. I myself first noticed OneKey with the Casper integration and this cool design. Specifically the special edition that they released. On the back, it has the Casper logo. On the front, it says OneKey in green. Unfortunately, I really missed out on it. I regret it to this day. I think this design is so beautiful. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it anymore. And OneKey doesn't have it in stock anymore either. That's really, really a shame. But maybe there will be another opportunity someday to get it after all. Or maybe they'll make a second special edition. Now let's go inside and open up this OneKey Classic. You can already see the security strips behind the foil. So there's a layer of foil here and security strips, one at the bottom and one at the top. We have to peel those off here, or rather, first we have to remove the foil. It's stuck in between here. It's really stuck on well, but that's a good thing, so it doesn't just open up easily. So let's make a little cut here and see if we can get it off. Yeah, right here. There's a small tear at the seam. That's from the packaging because, well, when the package arrived, that part wasn't so nice either. I also made a small tear here, probably when opening it. Well, but that doesn't make the device bad, because the packaging is very thick. We can see that here. If we cut this off here, you can see the packaging is very thick, nothing can get through. And now we have to remove the safety strips. Wow, but they're really stuck on here. Well, that's good, so they don't come off. With other manufacturers, as we've seen, the safety strips come off quickly. Then they've just left them out, which of course can lead to irritation or confusion regarding the safety. Now let's see what this white device can do. First, OneKey, Classic One Pure, then again here, the logo, hold your own key with one key, then the green one we have here. Remember, their t-shirts are also green. That's what it all looks like. Then the recovery sheet, which of course we need to write down our words. And of course, when I create a wallet in a moment, I'll quickly use the whole thing as well. And when I write down the 24 words, remember, there are of course great solutions for that. OneKey also has the OneKey key tag, which I've already shown you. There are really nice solutions for that, of course. Here we have the OneKey S1 Pure, which is additionally secured here. So that means you can't actually get into the device if something has happened to it, because this adhesive strip, you can see it here. Something already comes loose there, and if the whole thing has been opened, then you'll have these adhesive residues. But you would always notice that, because the moment you remove the adhesive residue, you scratch the film here. And they're really hard to get off, but they don't come off completely, and it sticks like crazy under your fingernails. It sticks. Let's take a look at the device. It's pretty much the same as the black one too. We can hold them next to each other. I actually think it's a tiny bit thicker when I hold them side by side here. That's just an impression. You can barely see it, the black one. The white one, of course, stands out right away here. But it's a very nice device. USB-C available here. OneKey logo on it. One says pure, the other doesn't say anything. But very stylish. There's an extra protective film on here. So the display doesn't get scratched. You can already see here, I've used this one. This film here is completely new. This one has fingerprints on it. But the buttons are all pretty much the same too. Also, inside the packaging, there's an extra cable, in this case in white. And what's also relatively new among all the hardware wallet manufacturers, because they know that much more is being used on mobile phones, is USB-C to USB-C, since USB-C is now on all phones. For example, with that one manufacturer who always took a stand with their bitten apple, they now also have USB-C, which means we could easily use all of this on a phone as well. And use our OneKey S1 Pure here with the OneKey app in this case. So a very good cable, very stylish, and of course also in white to match the white display, or rather the white device. All right, so I would say let's get started and turn on the device. To start the device, of course, we need a connection. I have a slightly longer cable here. The last time I made a video, the cable was actually very short. And then I had a bit of trouble here. That's why a short cable. And now let's take a look. Let's take a closer look at the device. First, of course, we need to select a language. So let's pick one here. Then we have German, of course. German, confirm the selection. Welcome to OneKey. Press this icon, this star icon, to go back or to continue. Follow the instructions for setting up OneKey Classic. Create a new wallet. Or we can import a wallet, then we would have to select Import Wallet here. Enter the recovery phrase to restore your previously used wallet. Then we first have to choose 12, 18, or 24. Words, that's what would be supported here. And then, for example, we would select 24 and take out our note. Enter these words. It's a bit cumbersome, I'll tell you that right away, but honestly, it shouldn't be simple in the sense of I'll just quickly create a wallet, but rather it should be set up once and then, of course, be secure. But for this video, we want to create a new wallet, so we go to Create New Wallet. Then we start the whole process. Create a new wallet. A standard wallet with a new recovery phrase will be created. Let's go there. Then we choose again 12, 18, or 24. I always recommend the highest, which is 24 words. Yes, and then the recovery phrase, we of course have to secure that. And then it shows my favorite word in every wallet setup is, in this case, word number 1. Then we go ahead and write the whole thing down. That's exactly why we got all this, or rather, we received this recovery phrase so we can write it down. I'll just bring this up so you can read along. And then try to write it all down here, or rather to record it so we can all look at it together. So we take the sheet of paper and of course a crypto pen, which is also here and ready to go. And then we go ahead and write the whole thing down. So word number 1 is C. I'll play the whole thing for you. You have to do the same on your end. Let's continue here. The next word is Lance. Lance Armstrong. By the way, I have just as many Tour de France titles as Lance Armstrong. Do you know why? They were all stripped from him. Let's move on and do the whole thing here. Wonderful, we've now written down all 24 words. I hope you're doing this a bit more neatly so that you can really read them well. In my case, it's just a wallet to show you how to create one. That means this wallet, or rather the device, will be reset anyway. So you can't do anything with these words. You can, just for fun, log in if you have a hardware wallet and simply enter these words. I'm deliberately showing them to the camera, and then you can see that you're in my wallet. And we all have access to this wallet, but you won't find any cryptocurrency there unless some crazy person gets in touch here and immediately sends something when I show the addresses. So this is important in order to always be able to access this wallet, or rather our wallet, but in the end, there's another check, namely recovery phrase 1 to 6. Check the whole thing again. Save, Lance, Fox, acquire, where, apart, then we move on. Check again. Unit, material, swear, pottery. Oak, hero, all English words. Then same, the whole thing again. Same. Dizzy, shine, negative, gasp. There's also an interesting word, I think it's in there for the first time. Sign, then sadness, sadness, intense. Million, described ahead, correct, and steal. Everything here just as it is. Then next, the instructions will follow to check the words individually. Then we have to do the whole thing, and that's a bit more involved, but it's just to make sure, do you really have it for sure written down? So save, then comes lens, then Fox, then acquire, then the part. I almost know it by heart already. unit material, just to make sure you've really written everything down 100%. I can only tell you, do it properly, conscientiously, write it down properly. There are plenty of ways to stamp the whole thing. OneKey also offers the option to stamp and securely store it with the OneKey key tag, so you can always read it again. With one of my first wallets, I once had the big problem that I really had a word or a spelling mistake in it. I had written an E instead of an A. And then you first have to figure out what the actual problem is, or rather, what mistake you made, and getting to that point was really awful. So now we've checked all the words, entered all the words securely, and now comes the big topic, namely, great, your backup is complete. Now we have access to the wallet. The recovery phase is finished. Now we're setting the PIN, because the device gets an additional PIN. You probably know my PIN by now. I always use it for demonstration purposes. Since 1, 2, 3 doesn't work, I use 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Then we can enter 4 here, press the check mark, and then we're done. Enter the PIN again, remember? 4, then 3, then 2. And one more. I could have gone the other way. 1. And now we have to tap the done symbol, PIN set 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can access my device. Now we've set a PIN. Everything is done. Congratulations. Wallet is ready. Download the OneKey app and use this device, or rather the classic, in this case the Pure one. If you're thinking now, that was really simple to use the device, and besides the others are also very nice. Here's the OneKey Pro, but of course also the OneKey Classic one or the new Pure. That one is even cheaper. Dear friends, I don't even know what's the difference. Why is it cheaper? Clear signature preview. It has that here too. No battery. It doesn't have a battery. We have to connect it with a cable. That's the difference. This one actually has a battery. That's why I was surprised. But that's totally fine, because most people nowadays will use it with a smartphone anyway. So the cable is included. That means as long as your smartphone has battery, you'll also have enough battery for the OneKey S Pure, and you'll be able to use it without any problem. So it's really simple and above all cheaper. Then I showed you the key take and the OneKey Lite. Also as an additional security feature for your cold storage or your OneKey cold wallet. And if you then decide you want to get an S Pure, just add it here, go to checkout, and then enter the code. Here you can see it, KE. And when you enter KE, you always save at least 5% during certain periods. During promotional periods, sometimes even 10%. You can find out about that via social media. But 5% is guaranteed for you with the code KE. And you save. You always save on the wallets. And as I said, they really are beautiful wallets. Once again, a quick comparison before we dive into the wallet and take a look at everything. Here we have the OneKey Pro and the OneKey S1. Honestly, with these names, it's really easy to get confused. The devices are pretty much the same. Yeah, as I said, I think the S is a bit, but maybe I'm just imagining that. Let's try it out here. The S Pure, the white one, feels a bit thicker to me. And the S1 with the battery, because it actually has a battery, I can just turn it on like this. At least I should be able to, since the battery isn't empty. Yes, power on. I can start it up like this. The white one, though, only works with a cable. But of course, that saves you 20 euros when buying it. I've already introduced the OneKey Pro to you as well. Really awesome design. Awesome, yeah. And here's the function with the camera on the back too. And of course, an awesome display. So if you want to go for it, you can. And with the code KE, you'll also save at least 5% on this state-of-the-art hardware wallet. But after I've set up such a wallet, what's the next step? Well, congratulations, we're ready. Then download the app, we go there, get support for any questions, done. And now, of course, we go ahead and connect everything. We have an option here via Bluetooth, as you can see here. So we can connect it via Bluetooth, or we can use the app on the desktop. Of course, I'll gladly show you on the desktop because it's easier to demonstrate everything this way. Last time when I opened it with you, I showed you the Pro version and created 3 wallets there. But now we're going to create a new wallet. This is the OneKey Pro. But now we want a new wallet, or rather a new account. And then we have the option to create a wallet. You can also simply create a wallet separately through the app without a device. But that's not recommended because the device is of course important. Or we simply get started by saying, in this case, we have a OneKey Mini, and it has already been detected. In this case, my device is called K3111. We connect that with the OneKey Classic one. Verify. The whole thing is then communicated, the authenticity check. And now it gets interesting. Now we have to enter the PIN code of our device here. And now, take a look. So I can now see it here on the device. That means I know my code is 4321, but on the desktop, I only see this. So now I have to compare. Here's the 4, here's the 3, here's the 2. And there's the 1, and it keeps changing as well. Confirm the authenticity check code on your device. Now comes the authenticity check. We agree to it here, and just like that, the verification was successful, dear friends. And now we're in our wallet. Now the firmware is being checked briefly, and we have an update here. Of course, it's always important that you keep the device up to date, so you don't end up having problems with any software risks if the update is missing here. I have secured my recovery phrase. My device is connected via USB cable. Only one device is connected. All other OneKey apps and web upgrade tools are closed. Okay, let's continue. Now the device will be updated, or rather, the firmware will be updated. Then the device will ask again, do you want to restart the device in update mode? Of course, so let's go back in. Then we need our pin again. Now you have to look at it differently. Now here is the 4, there the 3, there the 2, and in the middle is the 1. Let's check everything again. And now comes the bootloader, or rather here the update mode. In this case, install firmware in OneKey. Of course, confirm repairing or preparing in this case. It's preparing everything. Now everything is being installed. It takes a little while. We'll let that run through quickly. While it's running on the device, it's also running here via the update, also on the desktop or in the browser or in the app. In this case, this is the OneKey app. It's running through there as well right now, and then everything will be updated. New firmware, power off. Now we'll go ahead and select HBS understood again here because all the updates were there. No bug fixes, wow. So apparently there are no bugs here. Now we'll go back again. And on the device it says firmware check. It's checking everything again. We're verifying the device setup and now creating the wallet. Of course, we need a pin again here. And again, the numbers are in completely different places. So in this case, it's 4321 and let's go. Creating the wallet. Now we come to the part where we can see our wallet. On the device itself, a progress bar just ran through 100% account generation. Now it's creating wallets. Quick check again, encrypting your data just to be sure, dear friends. And then we get a new wallet here. At the top, we can choose the blockchain. We want to go into the blockchain, specifically the one that probably everyone uses. Let's start with Bitcoin. And then we see here that we have a Bitcoin address. In theory, we could even swap this, select which token we have here, or rather which network. We could even swap that, but we're not there yet. First, we want to, for example, see our wallet here. I'll move myself out of the way so we can take a look at everything here. We have several options here, namely Taproot, Nested, Segwit, Native Segwit, and Legacy. Taproot is probably, or Legacy is probably what most people use. Taproot with BC at the beginning, that's likely it. That's currently the most widespread. We can get it by simply pressing check on the device here. Then everything will be checked again. On the device, it asks us, where are we? Is this our wallet address? Yes, that's what it looks like. And then on the desktop, in this case, or in the OneKey app, our Bitcoin QR code will be displayed. Or just the address here, which we can also copy here, and then nicely split up into blocks of 4 to safely copy it. And that's how we can receive something. At the same time, if we had some Bitcoin here, we could, of course, also send it by, for example, pasting our wallet address here again. That would basically be our wallet address. We could even send something from our own address to ourselves. Then we can also easily buy separately here. A window will then open in the browser. Here you have the option to exchange euros for example, Bitcoin. Or we can also select other subdivisions here. But we've chosen Bitcoin now, so here are the available options. You can already see it. Wow, so many options nowadays. Open Bank, Squirrel, I don't even know the others. Google Pay, SEPA Instant, Bank Transfer, Credit Card, Debit Card, Bank Transfer, SEPA. Apple Pay, Revolut, that should be Klarna, and PayPal. That's how we can buy Bitcoin. That's wild, friends. Wow. So here you can really buy Bitcoin or of course other cryptocurrencies as well. We could switch them, but in this case, we've selected Bitcoin. Wow, are there even more? Just look at how many providers there are nowadays. Incredible. BTC Direct is listed here as the best price and recommended. Wow. So that means we have a lot of options here, for example, to buy Bitcoin, withdraw, use DeFi, bridge, or swap with other cryptocurrencies. So we can see that Bitcoin is very well represented here. But besides Bitcoin, we see a lot of networks here, for example, all networks. There are a few cryptocurrencies already pre-selected. Most of the ones used here are, in this case, Tron, BNB, Solana, Affirm, USDC on, I'm not even sure, multi-chain, right? Oh, look here on Solana, on Base, on Arbitrum, on Avalanche, on so many blockchains by now. Wow, OneKey really supports a lot of wallets. And as I said, in the app, it's also relatively simple and looks very, very similar to what I'm showing you here. In the browser, then we also see here that we have the option to select individual blockchains. For example, here are the most common ones where we also have the cryptocurrency already pre-selected. Or we can use new ones here. And you can immediately see which ones sorted alphabetically are available here. Incredible. So many options. A lot of blockchains in this case. I can imagine that a lot of people on my channel are also searching for Casper. And of course, Casper is also available here. So you can just quickly create an account. The whole process is done in no time. And just like that, we have a Casper wallet in this case. If we want to receive something, we just go to the device and then the wallet address is displayed. We can display it, quickly confirm it in this case, and now we have a Casper wallet address. We can copy it or use the QR code to access this wallet. Yeah, and that's really how simple it is. Here we can already see that buying and selling isn't possible yet, but it will probably be available in the near future. The Block Explorer is also visible here. We can access it directly by opening a browser. That's why you see the icon here. It opens right away, and then we can access the Casper Block Explorer directly. Send, receive, swap, and even bridge. This is possible here with Casper on OneKey, but as I said, many other blockchains, stock decks, whatever they're called these days, proof of work, proof of stake, everything that's out there is available here. Really, there's a whole lot. If you want to know exactly which cryptocurrencies are supported, just go to the OneKey website. There you'll find the supported cryptos or blockchains. And then you'll find here which wallet supports it. The Pro, the S1, or the S1 Pure, or whatever it was called when it was released mini. So the white one that I showed you in this video. There you have everything clearly laid out. For example, Monero is only supported by the Pro, not by the two smaller ones. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But that's exactly why this list exists, so you can check all of that out. But as you can see, most are supported by all three that are currently available from OneKey. As I said, they are really nice devices. The OneKey Pro, for example, is now even available in both black and white if we take a look at it. So feel free to check it out and order it here. With the code KE, you'll always get the best discount. Feel free to check it out, and of course, I would really appreciate it if you support all this by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. That way, I can keep introducing more and more of these kinds of products here on my channel. With that in mind, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments.